Welcome to my design studio. This is one of my favorite parts of the show where you, the viewer, send in some photographs of your property and we look at how we can make changes to improve the landscape. Now today we have a house and garden in North Carolina. Now Cindy indicated that she gets full sun. That's very important to consider here. Now what I like about this house, the colors are very nice. That soft butter yellow I think is good, and you've got the stone foundation which reflects some of the buttery yellows and so forth. So rather than going with a hot pink theme, it might be nice to go with something that has sort of salmon tones. I've got some ideas. Let me show you what I'm thinking about. All right, let's talk about just the bed shapes. This is a weeping cherry over here, which has beautiful pink flowers. But what I'm going to suggest that Cindy do is maybe pull the bed around like this and sweep it out and come around this corner like that. This could all become bed space, and the same thing could happen over here. You see there's a bed that comes along here, and it could sweep right around to the corner so we can get some foundation planting going. Now I noticed that she has some Nandinas here and here, and I'm a big believer in grouping everything together. So what we should do is think about maybe moving the Nandinas over here under this foundation of that screen porch, which is very nice. I really like the screen porches at the Garden Home Retreat. They're really great, particularly when the weather's beautiful to sit out there. It's just another room of the house. So good work, Cindy. And then over here the same way, maybe some Nandinas grouped there. Now you've got a few boxwoods along here, so this one, and this one. I think probably we should punctuate the path with boxwood and do the same over here. So they would come along here, as you can see. That I drew in front of the fence. Now in this bed, I'd like for you to maybe think about some evergreen shrubs that would give you some foundation mass planting all along here, because we're going to remove these other things like this. And I would like to see you use a white azalea, and you actually have a little bit of room maybe over in this corner. It's a little hard to tell from your drawing. So this would be a beautiful white azalea. So you're going to get great spring color there. And those could even sort of wrap like this. And then what I would like to see is this underplanting, because actually what's going to happen is you're going to have this bed go underneath this tree. So it's actually going to come along like this. The bed will be like that on the back side. So this could be a low ground cover all in here around the boxwood. And then this could be the same ground cover all along the edge and the same along here. And then what I would do is come in and punctuate this with a drift of, so this is evergreen, and I would do a grouping of knockout roses here and a grouping of knockout roses here. And the one called Rainbow is very good. It has a slight salmon color to it. And then what I would do is add just a big grouping of perennials. Right in here, I grow a beautiful daylily at the farm that has an apricot color to it. So I would do a big grouping of daylilies here, and then you could also accent along here or at the entry to this garden, because you're going to mirror it over here as well. Now you've got this fence that comes along here, Sydney, which I like a lot. And what I would do is grow a New Dawn rose on it, and then take that same rainbow knockout and pull it to the front and do some of that along the edge here. So you'd have this really beautiful froth of bloom in the way of roses, and then this foundation planting would be set out. The main thing is to get these beds pulled out where they're deeper and put those roses down here as well, and then follow in with the daylilies and the ground cover. A ground cover to consider would be something very simple and easy to grow, like euonymus winter creeper. It has a beautiful color in the fall and green throughout the growing season. Well, Cindy, I hope this helps. Good luck with your project. here's where I take photographs from gardens, viewers such as yourself, and take a look at them and come up with ways to improve the landscape. Now today we have a special one. My intern this year, Ben Ford, has pictures of his home from Middle Tennessee. Hey Ben, how are you?
I'm fine, Alan, thanks.
Good, I'm glad you're here. Hey, I like your house. I really like the color. I love that sort of taupe color because you can do so many different things with it. And then the stone's very nice. Yeah. So now you're thinking that you may want to just focus on, I guess this is the south side of the house or the west side. This is the west side. Yeah, so you get a lot of sun. Yeah, great. Well, I think that I would want to enclose this patio a little bit.
With a rail or something?
You could do a rail across here like this. Just a standard crisscross rail would be kind of nice, and probably paint it a dark color. You could pick up some of the darkest tones here in the rock, which would be a nice contrast. I would do that rather than the lighter color of taupe. But let me give you another idea with that. I know that you like container gardening. You could do a series of containers, Ben, along here, pretty good size, or 3 or 4, probably just 3 box planters, and in each one of those you could put a boxwood or something in it to give a sense of enclosure. So you wouldn't have to go to the trouble of mounting a wooden or metal rail across there. You could actually do it with container plants.
That's a great idea.
Well, I'm glad you like the idea. Now let's move over here just a moment. Ben, I'd probably get rid of this.
Yes, a clean slate would be nice.
Yeah, you've already thought about maybe removing that, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you've got stone here, you've got asphalt, you've got pea gravel up here. We need to get rid of one of the elements. And plus, I don't think it works very well just plopped where it is.
It's in the middle of the yard.
It is in the middle. And so what we want to do is we want to get rid of that. So let's also think about how this bed might relate to this space, because I think this offers a really great place. Let me use this to define from here over to here. If we looked at that as a garden, this would be gone. And we've got these box planters up here. Then I think you could anchor the corners here with a plant here and a plant here. You could almost create a path that would take you into this garden down to some focal point here. We'll do this in a different color. So you could create some sort of visual focal point here. And behind it, then, I would do a taller hedge of some kind of holly. Now, you're in Middle Tennessee, so you could plant a Nellie R. Stevens, or certainly, a needlepoint holly would be a beautiful example. Or even you could do a hemlock back here, one single plant, and let it be very loose and free. The hedge you could clip. But you would have a focal point here and a hedge, and then you could create a path all the way down and then plant on either side lots of perennials and so forth. And I think that this makes a really great backdrop here if you want to do some sort of trellis. We could go back to that.
Give that wall some more interest.
It would. And it might even be some sort of trellis like that, which would be very good. And then you could grow some sort of a rose on it that would come up on that side. Now, some of the plants in here, are there some perennials that you like that you would like to include?
I like the autumn joy.
Yep, you could save that sedum. That's a very good idea. I like to recycle, so we'd save this big sedum plant here. Some things that would go with that would be black-eyed Susans. Those are sort of warmer colors, but if you want to go cooler colors, you could definitely do some of the salvias in here, which would be beautiful. A New Dawn rose on this trellis would be
your favorite.
I do love that rose because it's so easy. And then maybe even along this path that we create, maybe you could plant something like catnip that would spill out over the
edge. Okay.
Over the edge a little bit. Maybe add just a mixture of coneflowers and perhaps some knockout roses along the path, and maybe even some daylilies in there would be beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for spring, you could, along that path, do all sorts of tulips or daffodils and just, get crazy with all kinds of bulbs. Yeah. I like it. What do you think?
It's very nice. I think it'll be a great addition.
All right. When do you get started on it?
I don't know.
Oh, you'll figure out a time.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I'll
Very
find some
good.
time.
And today we have a house in Georgia, a beautiful Craftsman style house. Now this belongs to Beth, and she tells me that it's on the foundation of her great-grandmother's house from around 1936. And it does have kind of a homestead feeling when you take a look at this enormous tree in the front. It looks like perhaps a big oak tree. So the house faces southwest, so we get a lot of hot sun coming at the house, but the tree obviously gives Beth a lot of protection, and that big generous porch looks very inviting. Now it looks like we have a blank slate to start with, and what I would do is probably anchor the corners with some tall evergreens. Now as you can see on this side of the house, it's not very interesting, so what I would do is probably take another large evergreen and place it down here, and then all along this bed I would create very generous bed that would come around and relate to the front all the way up to the front step like that. Now in between, Beth, I think what we could do is add some lower growing plants like a rhythm of boxwood, and then in front of it plant that beautiful Annabelle hydrangea with its creamy blooms. I think creamy white with your house would be very beautiful with this sort of apricot colored brick. Now the big evergreens could be hollies. In Georgia there's so many great ones to choose from. There's needlepoint, Nellie R. Stevens, Emily Bruner, and so forth, or even Foster holly would be beautiful here. And I would take the same plant and bring it over here on the other side. You'd see it on the other side here. It's a little hard to tell from the tree, but then the bed would come on around. It looks like you've got some steps or stepping stones from the steps all the way out. And what I would do here is probably take a bed line that would run along the street like this, and the same way over here on this side. I would use those boxwoods here, and a boxwood on either side there, and boxwood here, and boxwood here, and then on the other side of the porch so it's balanced. And then in this space along the tree, because it's going to be hard to get something to grow here, I would grow a really tough ground cover. I would grow something like Euonymus coloratus or the winter creeper, or if you like monkey grass, liriope would do very well out here in this hot sun. And I would bring it all around the boxwood here and here and do the same thing on the other side. Now since this porch is really an outdoor room, I would plant some gardenias all along in here, Beth, and the other side as well, so you get that wonderful fragrance. And you really have an opportunity, I think, here on this blank wall, and I believe you'll get enough sun if you wanted to grow a rose like New Dawn. It's one of my favorites. It's a great climbing rose that would grow up onto this wall, and it could even come across this part of the porch, which would be really charming. It would even add to the architecture and give it that sort of cottage look. And then in these beds across the front, I would go with a soft colored azalea, low growing along the front foundation like that. You could carry on with the white theme. You'd have the white hydrangeas, and then you would have white azaleas and the creamy sort of soft pink color of the New Dawn rose, and then of course the white gardenias. And I would keep these about at this height here, about only coming up about 2/3 on this wall. And then I would fill in, there may be enough shade here where you could grow some hosta, which would be beautiful growing out of the ground cover. And again, whatever ground cover you use here, I would use the same ground cover here and all the way around along the edge of the bed. And then in these planter boxes, since you get so much shade, try some of those wonderful double impatiens. They're so beautiful, and there's a creamy colored one, soft pink, kind of cream colored one that could be planted in these planter boxes. And I'd actually allow something to spill out over the edge of it, like creeping jenny or some sort of cascading plant that will do well in that partial shade. I love the chartreuse color of Creeping Jenny. Well, it's a beautiful house. Congratulations. I love the fact that there's a family connection to it, and good luck with it, Beth. Hey, if you love this video, make sure you comment and subscribe below.